What's up, everybody? I'm Walter.
I'm Porter, and I need this beer.
Yeah, you need that beer because we just went through hell trying to watch this freaking episode. Before we get into actually talking about the episode, let's go over some of the difficulties that we went through just to see the last, 10 seconds.
Literally 10 seconds
God.
This episode. Absolutely ridiculous. So first off, we weren't able to watch it on Sunday, so we watch it today, Monday. And come over, start watching it. Episode's recorded. Well, initially, I was recording the episode yesterday, and my box messed up, had to restart it, stopped recording, had to record a later episode. Problem number one. Then, go ahead, take it away. I can't right now.
Well, then it recorded correctly for the most part, so we're getting through this amazing episode.
Absolutely amazing.
To the very ending, and we'll get into it, but it's the part where Lady Olenna is saying, "Tell Cersei," and then it just cuts off! It's just cut off!
You would have thought a small puppy was being murdered in front of Walter and I with the amount that we were screaming. It was absolutely ridiculous.
It was painful in my brain.
It was hard to watch.
My brain was lit on fire at that moment.
It was fucking terrible.
I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
Like, no! Trying to figure out what happened, and it's like the episode just stopped recording.
Yeah,
it just cut
stopped
off
early for some reason.
Yeah, but it said it was 63 minutes. It's like, that's longer than a normal Game of Thrones episode, so what the hell?
Yeah, but it went on longer. Then trying to watch those last few seconds, looking for it, you wouldn't load on your computer.
Wouldn't load on my computer.
Tried several different avenues.
Yeah, couldn't get it on two different internet services, either Chrome or whatever on my computer. Tried my PlayStation 4, that wasn't working. He couldn't get it on one part on his phone. He switched to another part on his phone. We ended up watching the last 10 seconds huddled together in front of his phone.
Yeah.
And then we're all jacked up, yeah, this is gonna be amazing. Literally 10 seconds, and 4 words were said.
Tell Cersei, I want her to know it was me.
Yeah.
And then Jaime walks out, and that was it.
Yeah, it was literally the end of the episode. I'm like, we just went through 20 minutes of freaking torture for nothing.
So stupid.
Ridiculous.
But anyway, let's get into this episode breakdown here. So we start off with Jon arriving on Dragonstone. This is a moment that's been built up for years and years and years.
Absolutely.
Fire meeting ice, and they even say that.
Yeah, Melisandre said that, yeah.
So they arrive and they take their weapons, not the Unsullied, but the Dothraki do.
Dothraki, yeah.
And they take the boat and everything, and it's kind of funny how Jon just looks behind them, they're taking his boat away.
Davos is hysterical in this. He's talking to Missandei, he's trying to place her accent and this and that. He's like, wow, this place has changed.
Right, exactly. So we see Melisandre and Varys sort of on the upper mountain of Dragonstone overlooking. And that was an interesting conversation because after last week, I thought we had Varys pretty much pegged.
Yeah.
I mean, from this point on, it seemed like Littlefinger was going to be the one that was always I don't know where he's going to be. But we kind of knew where Varys was. But now, kind of weird.
Yeah, she had this weird, ominous, she tossed something out he was telling her to basically not come back to Westeros, leave.
It's
and
not
don't
safe for you.
It's not safe
Super
for
tan Varys.
Yeah, he's getting really
Dragonstone
tan.
really bakes me, bro.
But he's basically telling her, yo, don't come back.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I'll be back one last time because what did she say?
She has to die in this foreign land.
Yeah, I'll have to die
just
here,
like
and then
you.
just like you. And he's just kind of like,
what did you say that for?
The spider cannot die.
Exactly. But that was a nice little scene. Anything with Varys with that kind of back and forth.
Yeah, and they mentioned how why don't you go talk to them? Well, we parted in not so good ways last time.
Kind of killed a kid, so
yeah,
he kind of doesn't like me for that.
Yeah, the Onion Knight isn't my biggest fan. Tried to kill me. Whoopsie.
Yeah.
But so after they meet on the beach, they take Jon to Daenerys, and it is mind-blowingly amazing.
It's everything you expected. Yeah, I mean, from these two characters have been built up separately for the entire series, and you finally see them meet. And it's at Dragonstone. It's at I'm not sure where we're gonna see them meet, earlier in the season, but earlier in the series. But here they're at Dragonstone. This is the ancestral home of the Targaryens, and Jon is there, who doesn't know he's a Targaryen, and Dany is
First
there
time
as well.
we see him ever out of the north.
Right, exactly. And it's the aunt and the they don't know they are, but it's the aunt and the nephew meeting for the first time.
Yeah.
So,
and I love that Missandei introduces Daenerys and her bajillion nouns and
that's
descriptions.
hilarious.
And she goes through the whole big-ass thing, and everybody's kind of just looking, and then Jon's kind of like, and Davos is like,
This is Jon Snow. It's
Jon Snow. He pauses the beat.
Right.
He's King of the North. I was dying. It was great.
You know how it is. But yeah, their back and forth is really good. There's a lot of background on like the Mad King and Aegon the Conqueror and everything. Like the history between the two houses was gone over, and talking about the Stark King who bent the knee to Aegon so his men didn't get destroyed like everyone else was in that conquest. A lot of that stuff is in the World of Ice and Fire book, which if you guys haven't read that, all that stuff is laid out in detail.
Yeah, he was telling me about it. It's insanely detailed.
Yeah,
it reads
so
like an
fun.
incredibly
Interesting history book.
Yeah, an interesting history book.
Yeah.
I want to read it. It's on my list.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, like hearing them mention these names and like these battles and stuff, I'm just like, oh yeah, I remember this because I read the book. So it's pretty cool to see that brought up in the history of everything. So they went back and forth a lot about
Very
that.
tense.
Yeah,
and,
Daenerys really wanted him to bend the knee, and Jon's like, no.
He's like, basically,
Not
he's
gonna
like,
do it.
I don't care about your petty squabbles. Like,
Yeah.
these dudes are going to kill us all. How about we not bitch about who's on the throne, and let's try and survive.
Yeah.
And he even mentioned that we're all just children playing playing at some game or whatever, when the real enemy is marching from the north. And she was kind of like pissed, like, you just call me a fucking kid?
Right.
And it was great. Her little interactions with Tyrion about like, I thought you vouched for this guy, bro. And he's kind of like, well, I did. He's still pretty cool, though. Like, bro, help me out.
I trust him. There was a good line in there. I trust the eyes of an honest man more than what people have said or something like that. Really good line from Tyrion. But, I mean, he has great lines every episode, basically.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
But the way we get out of the situation is Varys comes in and he tells Daenerys that what happened with the Greyjoy fleet and everything. So she's like, well, damn. Just go do what you're going to do, and then we'll talk about this later.
Yeah.
So he's not exactly a prisoner there, but he's not exactly there on the best terms.
Yeah, he can't leave. They took his boat. He has free reign of the island, but he can't leave.
Right. So from there, we get a really quick scene with Theon being picked up by some other Greyjoy bannermen, like they were on Yara's side. Yeah. So he's still alive, frozen like white. Kind of like a Titanic vibe there.
Yeah. Jack didn't go down on this one.
Right. So he tells the captain of that ship, like, I tried to save her, but like, if you tried, you wouldn't be here. Yeah. Like, yeah. So we know
can
that
see
he's
what
kind of
standing he's in.
Right. But I think his destiny is going to be to die defending something. It's going to be a good death for him. It's going to bring him full circle.
I hope so.
I think that's what's going to happen. Because he's not going to like make it. No way. Theon's going to die, but just how he's going to die, as a hero or as Reek. You know? Yeah. I'm looking forward to see what happens.
Jeez.
Yeah. So Euron and Jaime.
That was just amazing.
Yeah. Euron brings Yara and the youngest Sand Snake to King's Landing.
And the Sand Snake mother too. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Oberyn's wife. I forget her name.
Elena or something like that.
Something like that. There's a lot of us.
Yeah.
Us.
Yeah.
One of those. But they bring him in and before Cersei. And there's that little back and forth where we see Euron is like, I only want one thing.
Yeah.
So you'll get what you would desire or whatever soon or something like that. After the war. And then there's a really interesting moment where Euron goes next to Jaime and this is like, so how does she like it?
How does she like it? What do you mean? Well, does she like it rough? Does she like it soft?
Oh my God.
A finger in the arse and... Jaime gives him this look like, I'm gonna slit your throat.
Yeah.
And Euron's just kind of just chortling and laughing. He's got this grin on his face like, I know you're not gonna do anything here, and I'm having a blast. And he is turning into one of the most ridiculous badass characters.
I mean, there's been deplorable villains on this show, and he's a villain, but I love watching Euron.
He is hysterical, and he just does not give a single bit of a shit, and it's awesome.
So from here we get a great scene, like in the dungeons of King's Landing, with Cersei talking to Oberyn's wife, and about Marcella's death and everything.
She's got her and both the mom Sand Snake and the youngest Sand Snake chained, and gagged.
There's a moment where you saw like a little bit of humanity come out in Cersei, like this little speck, when she says, "You killed Marcella. Why did you do that?" It was like a really direct, like legitimately honest question. It wasn't like she was messing around. She just directly asked her, like, why did you kill my daughter? Why did you do that? So that was like kind of the last shred of humanity probably gonna ever see from Cersei.
And you see the mountain is right there
God,
always, and he's
dude.
just staring at
Huge.
Elena, or whatever her name is,
Yeah.
and she's staring at him like, holy shit, there's the mountain.
Yeah.
And they reference how Clegane crushed her
Oberyn's
head and asked if she should do that to her, or if she should do that to her daughter in front of her, and he said, no, that's too fast.
Right. Cersei... So Cersei, like the torture for Oberyn's wife is going to be watching her daughter die, like she killed Marcella. So like
she had
Cersei,
the long kiss,
right?
The poison on
poison
her lips, just as Elena did.
Yeah.
And she kissed the younger Sand Snake, and then she wiped it off and took the antidote. And was asking that maester, how long does it take? Only days, hours, days, weeks. It all depends on the constitution of the person.
Right.
So basically, Elena Sand is going to watch as her daughter dies.
Yeah.
And then they're going to force feed her and keep her awake and make sure that she sees her daughter's body decompose.
Right. Crazy.
That's
man.
just, man.
That's called revenge right there. So that was a crazy scene. Then right out of there, we get the incest sex.
Oh, yeah.
The insects. Jeez.
Insects.
Good lord.
Just go right into it. It was a little ridiculous.
Yeah, Jimmy's like, no. And then she just, like, takes him over. And then, like, they have one of the handmaids or something come to the room, and Jamie's like, they can't see us like this. She's like, it doesn't matter. I'm the queen now.
Yeah. She's like, I don't give a shit if they know. Everybody already has their suspicions anyway, so fuck it. Might as well.
Yeah, so...
And some character that we hadn't seen before dressed in black. I've never seen
short hair. I've never seen her, but I don't know if she's gonna pop up again or not.
It seemed like she was too much of a focal point. She didn't seem as anonymous of a character.
So maybe she'll come up.
I think she's gonna pop up again because it was just weird. She's dressed in black. She has this very distinct haircut that we've never seen on anybody
besides like Cersei.
Besides like Cersei and Arya when she was trying to be a boy. Yeah. Other than that, we haven't seen that hairstyle. So I think she's gonna pop up a little later.
Yeah, it's possible. But yeah, this scene really like demonstrated Cersei's like control over Jaime. Jaime has become a pretty morally good character.
Yeah, which is interesting.
But he's so corrupted by Cersei, and that's talked about later.
But he's blinded by her too. He's blinded by his love for her.
Exactly, and that's brought up later that she's a disease, and like she's infecting him as well as everyone else. I mean, Jaime has turned into, like I said, a good character. So it's rough to see because you're rooting for him, but he's doing all these bad things because of Cersei. And
you're also rooting for him. You've seen the gradual change of this character, the growth of this character over the last 6+ seasons, 6+ years. And it's like you really, I feel like we really got to know this character. Yeah. And he's done some really messed up shit. Right. But I feel like he's starting to atone for it, and he's really coming to the good side and the light side, if you will. Right. And it's just, he's so just clouded and blind when it comes to Cersei.
There's going to be a crazy death involving Cersei and Jaime, probably at the same time. Yeah. There's a lot of theories out there about that. But from there, we get Cersei and the Iron Bank guy kind of talking about the debts and everything.
Who's played by the same dude who played Mycroft Holmes in the Sherlock series on the BBC. I'm sure a lot of you watched that. So it was a fantastic fit for that guy. But anyway,
it was a good scene.
It was really good.
A really good back and forth, and it's about who the Iron Bank is going to back in this war, because Daenerys seemingly has the edge, but Cersei's bringing up that they're all foreigners, and she says that Lannisters always pay their debts, so this weighing...
And he's comparing her to Tywin. Right. He's like, you really are your father's daughter.
Exactly.
And, exactly. She brings up the fact that, Lannisters always pay their debts. And it's like, it's still kind of up in the air, I think, a little bit, where the Iron Bank's going to land. But I think they're now more leaning towards Cersei. But I really think
he's staying there. She told him to stay there as her honored guest.
But she said a fortnight, so 2 weeks. So within 2 weeks, she's going to... Well, she said that she would pay them back. Right. Yeah. Her debt would be paid. You're right. So we're interested to see. Well,
Highgarden. She's gonna steal, right? Because Highgarden got attacked and sacked, and probably they just stole all their money. So maybe that's how they pay them off.
And goods, I'm sure they'll be able to sell and whatnot.
So that's probably what it is. That's what I'm guessing.
And I'm sure the concept of time and how time passes in here is a little.
It's quickened.
Ambiguity. It's got an ambiguity to it because of that how long it takes from a character to sail to another land. Like, it's going to take weeks or whatever. But in this season specifically, in other seasons, we kind of got a broader concept of how time passed. Right. But now they're really making the pace come up a little bit more. So now it's kind of like we don't exactly know how fast time is moving, so it's kind of something you have to kind of take in stride.
Right.
So
from there we jumped back to Dragonstone. We have a really good Jon and Tyrion scene where they're brooding. And I came up here to brood, but you're here looking much better than I am. It's hilarious. Good back and forth.
And Jon's
there.
wearing his furs and everything.
It's not that cold out there.
It's really
Jon.
not. It's just like, I don't know.
I don't know what to do
without my furs.
Yeah, so there's a good back and forth, and I really love seeing Tyrion and Jon interact again. So.
Yeah, because we haven't really seen it since the first season.
Right, so
and they're two
cool to see.
Two very prolific characters with great dialogue in general, and then you put them together, it's just gold.
Yeah, absolutely. And then sort of, stoking the fires, if you know what I mean, about like saying, well, just, give her a little bit of room, try to talk to her.
Talk to the people around her, why they support her, and just kind of see where everybody's coming from, and maybe it'll be a little bit easier to bend the knee and such.
Right, and then, from there we go to Dany and Tyrion, and Tyrion is trying to tell Daenerys about, just give him what he wants with the dragon glass thing. It's worthless to you.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Get him on your side, and then we'll see where we're at after that. And right after that, we get Jon and Dany talking, and that was a nice little scene where she tells him she's going to let him mine for the dragon glass, and he asks if she believes him, and she just like turns away.
She's basically like, "Don't you have shit to do?"
Yeah, right. She said something like that. Get to work. So I'm very interested to see how that relationship develops.
I really can't wait to see how much dragon glass they're going to be able to.
They're supposedly on like a whole bunch of it. Yeah.
And so it's going to be really interesting to see how they arm themselves potentially for the upcoming battle, which I'm sure is going to last until season 8. We're not going to see that. We might see the start of it, season 7 at the very end, but it's going to be nuts.
Yeah. Then from there we go to Winterfell with Littlefinger and Sansa, and a lot of stuff happened here. So we see Sansa is really taking to ruling really well. She says, fix this, fix that. And they're like, oh yeah, why don't we think of that? And then they go and fix it.
She's doing really well with it.
Yeah, and Littlefinger is being Littlefinger.
Creepy as fuck.
Good advice though is saying playing things out, every possible situation. Your friends are your enemies are your friends, and when no matter what happens, you'll always seen something coming. Any type of different situation. So.
And we know that's how Littlefinger operates.
Absolutely.
So it's like, okay, that is good advice, delivered extra creepily, but that is good advice.
But then we hear that someone arrived at the gates of Winterfell, and we're thinking it's Arya.
Yeah, I was like, Arya?
Arya wasn't in this episode.
And then,
but it's Mira and Bran.
Yeah.
And wow, Bran's back. But Bran was acting so like.
Super weird.
I'm the
three-eyed
raisin. I'm the three-eyed raisin.
It's really cold outside. He shriveled up a lot.
Yeah, that's
the three-eyed raven.
Right.
If you will.
Right, but he's so cold. Like, you know what I mean? Like the last time we saw him, he was on a run for his life and everything, and now he's just straight like I'm just a three-eyed raven.
And he was telling her how he sees all that's going on. He's seen the past of everybody, and he brings up how she looked because they're sitting at the tree. Right. What's that tree called again? The
weeping willow or something. No, I can't remember what the name is.
But whatever, that face tree, the white tree. So they're sitting there, and then he mentions because that's where she got married to
Ramsay.
And he's you look beautiful in that white dress, and it kind of freaked out Sansa, and she's like, all right, I'm out of here.
Right.
And he's like, I'm going to stay a while, just straight chilling. And
chill for real, because it's cold out.
Yeah, but it was really weird. He had no emotion.
Yeah.
And why would you bring that up? If you've seen the history, you knew what happened that very night.
I mean, he's trying to convince her.
I guess. Why would you bring that up?
She would kind of know about. But but then he brings up like, oh yeah, too bad Jon's out here. Like, yeah, I got something to tell.
It's like, oh, is he gonna be like, hey, you're a Targaryen? Just thought you ought to know.
Right? You're kind of both. You're a Stark and a Targaryen, so we're interested to see how Bran actually tells him. So from there we jump to the Citadel, and Jorah is cute of the grayscale. Yes.
He's all like messed up and like he's all like red and raw. His skin's all red and raw, but he doesn't have any of the grayscale. Yep. You see the Archmaester prodding him and like checking him out. Like basically, you got a full bill of health or a clean bill of health. Like you're free to go, dude.
Yeah.
But he's asking him like, oh, how did this happen? And he's like, the weather.
The climate.
The climate and the rest.
Really nice Jorah and Sam scene where they shake hands, and it's like, it's cool to say hopefully our paths will cross again. Like,
yeah, Jorah's like, you saved my life. And Sam's like, your father saved mine plenty of times.
Right.
So it's really nice connecting all these dots that we've always seen separate.
Absolutely.
So
and now Jorah's on his way back to Dragonstone, back to Daenerys, so that's going to be great. A nice reunion there. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So from there, we see Sam and the headmeister sort of talking about everything, and it's sort of just implied that shouldn't have happened. It barely ever works, but he's just like, well, I just read the book and did it. So
yeah, basically, I think it's hinting at the fact that Sam will definitely be a badass maester in the future, and I think that the Archmaester is kind of seeing that, like, you did this on your own, first time, perfectly, where many others have failed and infected themselves.
Right.
No problem. So, and basically his reward was to translate a bunch of shit.
Copy a bunch of shit. Old scripture and all that stuff. From there we go to the Battle of Casterly Rock, which did not turn out how we thought.
That was awesome, though.
So,
I really liked how they set that up.
It upset your expectations because it's like, well, it's going to be a tough battle, but the Unsullied might win, but it's going to be really rough because they explain how Tywin set up Casterly Rock at that point.
And they go into this whole cutscene in the sequence, of Tyrion narrating what is supposed to happen, and then it shows the Unsullied in this battle and how many Unsullied are dying. And then he switches it, and he talks about how Tywin designed everything for Casterly Rock except the sewers, and he got the lowest person to do that. The lowest person being Tyrion.
So he has like a secret way in, so they get in. The Unsullied does into Casterly Rock and take it over pretty easily, but too easily because a lot of the Lannister forces aren't there. And then Grey Worm looks over the ledge, and Euron's fleet is burned all their ships.
Yeah, it's devastating the entire fleet of the Unsullied.
So the Unsullied is stranded at Casterly Rock.
And they're like, "Where's the rest of the Lannister army?" And then you see the Lannister army marching with Bronn, whom we have not seen yet this season, and not even really too much last season. I don't remember seeing Bronn too often. A little bit. Just a little bit, yeah. And so we see Bronn with Jaime marching up to Highgarden.
Yeah, and they take it over like that. I mean, the Highgarden was never, like Olenna says later, they weren't like a fighting type.
Yeah.
So that got taken over really easily, and then we get a great scene with Jaime going in with Lady Olenna. Olenna is going back and forth with him sort of about, well, what's going to happen now?
I know I'm going to die. How am I going to die?
Yeah, and then Jaime says that he talks Cersei out of like these terrible torture ways of dying, and he just has like this poison that'll kill you with no pain or whatever.
Yeah, he just pops the cork on this poison, drops it in her glass, and kind of looks at her like, this is it.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, will there be any pain? And he's like, no, I made sure of that. Okay, cool. And she straight downs it like a shot at a frat party. It was easy as peasy. Like, it was ridiculous.
That's true.
And I know Walter and I were kind of just like, well, that was easy. Like, she totally did not care about taking this poison. And then she starts speaking right after she takes it, and our minds are collectively blown.
Right. So she tells Jaime that she's the one who killed Joffrey in so many words. She said, I hate to die the way that your son died.
Yeah, choking, spitting up his own bile, purple face. It was just awful. It's terrible for you as a king's guard and a father, and so he she knows that. Yeah. And then it was terrible for me to see it, because that's not how I wanted it to happen. And then she explains how she had never seen the poison and this and that.
Right, in person.
And you see Jaime's face.
Oh, Jaime, dude, what's Nikolai Walder or whatever the actor's name?
I don't know how to pronounce his last
name. But his little look, man, it was just like he was just kind of listening, and then when he found out that she's the one that killed Joffrey, his eyes just kind of go up, and like, ooh,
you see
subtlety.
The realization,
Ooh, that was
very good. It was quick.
Yeah, and then she goes like, tell Cersei, and that's when the freaking thing got up.
Yeah, for us, yeah.
Yeah, but then when we got back into it, so tell Cersei that I'm the one who did it. Like, I want her to know. So
and then he's just kind of looking at her, and I honestly wasn't sure if we were gonna see old Jaime, because I feel
gonna stab her.
I feel like old Jaime would have just stabbed her.
Yeah.
And then he kind of just looks at her, and you can tell he's angry, and tell he's distraught, and he just turns on his heel and walks away.
Right.
And then there's a long shot of her just sitting at the table.
And we don't even see her die.
Yeah, she's just sitting there. I expected to see maybe a slumping or a head fall forward or whatever.
Right.
And it just cuts to the credits, and it's like, holy shit.
Yeah, crazy, man. So that was a crazy episode of Game of Thrones. I'm interested to see if Jaime's even going to tell Cersei, because if he does, and she gets really angry. What is there to accomplish? The High Garden's taken over. All the
but that proves that
the Tyrells are dead. So like,
well, that proves that Tyrion didn't have anything to do with it.
Right.
He kept on saying, "No, I didn't do it." They never believed him. I think Jaime did.
Jaime believed him. Well, he set up his escape, helped set up his escape, but he killed Tywin, and now he hates Tyrion too. So there's going to be some confrontation with Tyrion and Jaime at some point, and I don't know what's going to happen, if Jaime's going to go after him or what's going to happen.
I really don't see Jaime going after
there's going to be
Tyrion.
Something. He said he hates him, I don't know.
I could almost, you know what,
but
I don't think
this
he
might
does.
clear him a little bit more.
Yeah.
But he still killed his dad. That was the reason why he doesn't like him anymore. I mean, like, it's a good reason.
But he still doesn't... When he talks about him, you don't see too much of the hatred that you can obviously see in Cersei.
Yeah, right.
So, I don't know.
So is Cersei going to say, oh, she's a lying whore. She's just trying to get to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
The lies of a dead woman. You know?
Right,
So,
something like that.
We'll see something. We'll see something, whatever she says.
Right. So we'll be back next week with another review of Game of Thrones.
Hopefully without any technical difficulties.
Good Lord, man.
I don't have to drink myself into a stupor if there are.
I know. Also, a quick note, there's not going to be a new top 5 going up next week. There will be one going up tomorrow, but I've got the week off coming up here, so don't look for another top 5 episode for another 2 weeks after tomorrow. So, and also, I will be back on here, this channel, very soon with a very special Power Rangers
Yeah!
review. Wait till you get surprised. Wait till you
It's
see
good.
it.
It's good. You're going to like it.
But until then, I'm Walter.
I'm Porter.
We'll see you next week.
Later.
Bye.